I want to quickly talk to you about the top 10 iPhone 12 security settings and practical privacy tips. These tips are so wonderful, they are also applicable to all iPhones from 7 Plus to 12 Pro Max. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you are to ask me. If you are doing as terrific as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today's topic is very important because we have millions of users, even billions of users out there using iPhone on every single day. And we understand that your smartphone right now is an extension of your brain, right? It has all your emails, search history, and communication with other people. It also has pictures, videos, and so on and so forth. So whether you are just concerned about corporations collecting your data to monetize your habit, or you just have an indiscreet roommates who just wants to always check out your incoming messages, you don't want to have any. You don't want to take any chance. And today I'm going to share with you settings that you can put in your phone right now to change how your iPhone is set up for increased privacy. So using a smartphone is always a risk. It's always a risky affair, right, when it comes to privacy, because your cell provider tracks your location all the time, and it's even nearly impossible to identify exactly what data each app collects and sells. But everyone can take a few steps to mitigate privacy concerns. So when it comes to iPhone 12, today, here are the steps you need to take right now. Number one, you want to enable two-factor authentication. This is very important because two-factor authentication adds a second layer of security to your Apple account. In this case, requiring a one-time use code alongside your password for you to log in from an unfamiliar device. So after you set it up, even if someone has your password, they shouldn't be able to access your account without also having your phone or computer, right? For example, if you have an iPhone 12 and you sign it into a new Mac for the first time, it will prompt you to enter a verification code that pops up on your phone. So we're actually showing you on the screen right now the two-factor authentication. And the thing here is that to enable it from your phone, you have to go to settings, your name, password, and security, and then tap turn on two-factor authentication. You should also enable this feature on other important online accounts if you haven't already done so. Number two, you need to set a strong passcode, and you have to consider disabling Touch ID or Face ID. So we're showing you on the screen right now the snapshot. And this is very important because everyone should have some sort of a lock on their phone to prevent strangers from accessing it. So a passcode prevents someone from accessing work, personal, or financial information on your phone. And even better, it makes it much harder for a thief to wipe and reuse or resell the phone. And you can use biometric locks, Touch ID or Face ID, right? Now, if you are in a circumstance where someone may try to unlock your phone with your fingerprint, or if you have sensitive data on your phone, you want to consider skipping the biometrics and using only a passcode. This is very important. And if you don't have a passcode set on your phone, it's time to set one up. So you want to tap settings, Touch ID or Face ID, and passcode. And if you have an iPhone 12 that supports Face ID, make sure the require attention for Face ID option is enabled so that your phone cannot be unlocked when your eyes are closed. This is very important. And if you choose a PIN, make the PIN a more complex alphanumeric code so that it's even harder to guess. To do so, very simple. You want to change passcode, you want to enter your passcode, and then tap passcode options. Step number 3, you want to change what's accessible on your lock screen. We're actually showing you right now on the screen. You can see this. This is a very important. Why? Because if you're not careful, your iPhone 12 or other iPhone can display a lot of personal data or give a stranger access to certain features from the lock screen without requiring a passcode. So what do you actually do? While you are in the Touch ID or Face ID setting and passcode menu, you want to take some time to you want to poke around a few more options. So in the Allow Access When Locked area, you want to look at which features are available on the lock screen when the phone is locked. This is very important. You may want, and it really depends on you, but you may want to disable reply with messages, return missed calls, and notification center if you are worried about someone getting physical access to your phone and accessing recent messages and notifications. And one other tip that we think it might be helpful to you is you want to enable erase data. So with this options enabled, the iPhone wipes all data after 10 failed passcode attempts, which makes it improbable because someone can actually force their way into your phone. But if you actually wipe it out after 10 failed passcode attempts, you are safe. Number 4, you want to clean up lock screen widgets and notification settings. This is kind of important because millions of iPhone users out there don't know about this. I want you to pay really attention. As you can see on the screen right now, please look on the screen, the snapshot. You want to do this because, as with the lock screen, notifications might leak sensitive data to a stranger who finds your phone. So you want to hide the text and notifications for apps that have potentially sensitive data. And how do you do this? For notification, you want to head to Settings, Notifications, Show Previews, and you want to change the setting to either when unlocked or never. And if you worry about only specific apps, such as Messages or your email app, showing sensitive information, change this option on an app-by-app basis by going to Notification, you pick the app name, and you want to show previews. And one thing I want to say here is that besides notifications, widgets can unintentionally leak information. From the home screen, you want to swipe to the right to open the Today view. If it has data from any apps you wouldn't want a stranger seeing, all you have to do right now is to scroll down to the Edit button, and you can remove that app from the page. Next, number 5. You want to investigate app permission, as you can see on the screen right now, because you want to make sure that the apps that you have on your phone have the appropriate permissions and the appropriate level of authorization. Because every time you install an app, it asks for permissions to access hardware and system services such as the microphone, your location, the camera, and more. But it's also too easy to click through this notification. For example, some apps that don't need location data to function still record that data so they can sell it alongside other information they collected by you to marketing firms. So what do you do here? You want to open Settings, you want to go to Privacy, and you want to scroll through each of the various privacy controls. And location services rank among the most overreaching requests that apps make. So it's worthwhile to make sure that most apps are set to never or while using. For any app that doesn't require your exact location, but where an appropriate location will work, like weather apps, you want to disable precise location. And the cool thing here is that very few apps are enhanced by knowing your location. So that's often data they just collect to bundle up and sell to advertising companies. They don't say it, but that's what they do. And the same goes for Bluetooth. So for years, retail stores have quietly used Bluetooth to track your location when you're shopping. Number 6, you want to enable automatic updates. As you can see on the screen right now, it's very important for app updates. And this is important because both the operating system and the apps you download often receive updates containing security and privacy fixes. So you don't want to miss the latest updates, especially if it really covers an important security hole. So enabling automatic updates ensures that those fixes happen in the background. And how do you do this? I want you, if you want to automatically keep apps up to date, you want to head to Settings, App Store, and you want to enable app updates. And the operating system is set to update automatically by default, but you can double check by opening Settings, General, and Software Updates. All right. Okay. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are concerning ourselves today with iPhone 12 security settings and practical privacy tips. And the tips, the cool thing here is that all the tips I'm giving you today are also applicable to all iPhones. All right. Number 7, I want you to disable ad tracking. As you can see on the screen right now, we're showing you, and this is important because ad tracking is a method to serve you personalized ads, but these tailored campaigns based on marketing profiles can be off-putting, right? And how do you do this? I want you to scroll right now to the bottom of the page at Settings, Privacy, and Apple Advertising, and you want to toggle personalized ads off. And so this will basically opt you out of interest-based ads in Apple apps. So you can disable this type of ad tracking across some apps. You have to open Settings, Privacy, Tracking, and you want to make sure Allow Apps to Request to Track is disabled. This is very important, and this will not go into full effect until sometimes in 2021. Now, you also want to head to Settings, Privacy, Analytics, and Improvements, and you want to disable Improve Siri and Dictation if you want to prevent Apple from reviewing recordings from Siri. This is important if you're the kind of user you want to protect that part of your privacy. You can also disable Share iPhone Analytics and Share iCloud Analytics if you would like. Although that data can be helpful to software developers, and the cool thing is that it is anonymized. So analytics data cover a lot of information that you may not want to share anonymously or not. So that's for number 7. Number 8. I want you to configure right now Siri settings. As you can see on the screen, you have a couple of settings. You have suggestions while searching, suggestions on lock screen, suggestions on home screen, and suggestions when sharing. And this is kind of important to configure the Siri settings because although most people think of Siri as just a voice assistant, it's also the backbone, if you really think about it, the backbone of Apple's personalization system. And this tracks how you use your phone and makes suggestions based on what it knows about you. And that's kind of cool because you get a bespoke experience, a customized experience. But listen, from a privacy point of view, Siri might be more complicated than you think. For example, Siri suggestions in search might pull up text from a private diary app that contains a keyword. And how do you do this? So what you do, you go to Settings, Siri, and Search. You can find some basic usability settings alongside a set of toggles underneath Siri suggestions. So you have, as I said earlier, you have suggestions in search. So this suggests different apps, messages, and more when you pull down to invoke the search menu. You have suggestions on lock screen. So this displays different information on the lock screen based on how you use the apps. For example, if you go to Starbucks every morning and order with the app at 9 a.m., you will see a Siri suggestion notification for the app every day at 9 a.m. And you have suggestions on home screen. So this controls the Siri suggestions widget. And you have suggestions when sharing. And this displays different contacts when you tap the share button in apps. So if you don't use any of these features, what I'm trying to say here is that you can disable them right now. And if you like these features but don't want Siri to pull results from certain private apps, guess what? You can scroll down, tap an app, and toggle each of those settings individually. You can also altogether delete your Siri history by tapping Siri and dictation history, and then delete Siri and dictation history. Number 9, I want you right now to consider turning off iCloud backup for apps that don't need it, as you can see on the screen right now. And why? Because when it comes to data privacy and security, the iPhone generally does a great job, stellar job, no question about it. Messages are encrypted end to end, and backups are encrypted in transit and on the server. So that's fantastic. Nonetheless, Apple still holds the key to unlock anything stored on iCloud, including backups. So what that means is that law enforcement can compel the company to unlock those backups. We've had a recent episode with the FBI. It was all in the news, so you know about it. So this is something you have to keep in mind. So what do? You can disable iCloud backups completely, though that means when you restore a phone or get a new one, you'll have to set it up as a new phone every time unless you back up your phone to your computer. The most privacy focused option is to disable iCloud backup, and you can use local backups and then leave messages in cloud enabled. So the thing is, if you don't have a computer, or let's say this sounds like too much trouble to back up this way, Apple gives you some options to decide what's stored in iCloud. So you can go to settings, your name, iCloud. So you want to go through and uncheck anything you don't want stored on the internet. Some of the options here are end-to-end encrypted, most notably messages, meaning Apple does not have a key and wouldn't be able to comply with law enforcement requests to unlock them. However, in the case of messages, if you have iCloud backup enabled, Apple holds the key for messages stored in the backup. Number 10, you want to set messages to auto delete. And as you can see on the screen right now, we have a 30, it can be 30 days, 1 year, or forever. Why do you want to do that? I mean, unless you like going through old messages, which I don't think anybody does these days, you can probably do without saving them forever. On top of deleting dumb things you've said in the past you might not want someone to find, cleaning up can also free up a ton of storage space on your phone. A lot of iPhone users think that pictures and videos are taking up space. Yes, but you also have old messages, and those, if you clean up your iPhone from time to time, this process can free up a ton of storage space. And what do? You want to head to settings, messages, keep messages, and you want to change the setting to 30 days or 1 year or whatever. It really depends on you. So folks, those were the top 10 top 10 iPhone 12 security settings and practical privacy tips. And this again is applicable to all iPhones from 7 Plus to 12 Pro Max. Now, I have a bonus for you. I have 2 more privacy settings that I believe you might like, and this is the bonus here. And you can enable Find My iPhone. And why? Because losing your iPhone stinks, right? But thankfully, the iPhone has 2 ways to help protect your privacy with its Find My service. So as you can see on the screen right now, you want to enable that. And you want to open settings, your name, Find My iPhone, and make sure Find My iPhone is enabled. So with this settings enabled, you can use another Apple device to find your phone if it's lost, or you can wipe it remotely if you think it's stolen. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And the last iPhone 12 or iPhone in general, iPhone security setting and practical privacy tip you want to implement today is to change your default search engine, and you want to tweak Safari settings. Now, you have many search engines. By default, the iPhone wants you to use Safari, but you have Google, Yahoo, Bing. Our favorite is DuckDuckGo. Why? Because even though Google is the default search engine in Safari, if you don't like the idea of Google slurping all your search data, you can change this. Afterwards, you can always still head to www.google.com if you need to. So to change the default search engine, you want to head to settings, Safari, and search engine. And as I said earlier, we suggest DuckDuckGo, which doesn't track you or target ads. While you're there, you want to scroll down to the privacy and security section and enable prevent cross-site tracking. So this will automatically stop some sites from tracking you as you browse the web. And if you want to completely block tracking, though, you want to consider using a content blocker such as iBlocker, or there are other content blocker out there. You may also want to disable other Safari settings such as Safari suggestions, because this sends some search queries to Apple, including the location of where you search from, which you can disable on its own settings. You got to go to settings, privacy, location services, and system services. Now, one thing I want to say to close to this conversation is that, folks, privacy is an ever-changing concern, and nothing you can do is completely bulletproof. However, be sure to check in on these various settings after iOS updates. For example, iOS 14 introduced a host of new privacy options. So it's impossible to lock everything down, but it is possible to at least dial back the data collection, which is very important. At the end of the day, that's what we all are concerned about, the data collection. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I really appreciate it. I was talking to you about the top 10 iPhone 12 security settings and practical privacy tips. The cool thing is that those tips are also applicable to all iPhones from 7 Plus to 12 Pro Max. Number 1, enable two-factor authentication. Number 2, you want to set a strong passcode and consider disabling Touch ID or Face ID. Number 3, change what's accessible on your lock screen. Number 4, you want to clean up screen widget and notification settings. Number 5, you want to investigate app permissions. Number 6, you want to enable automatic updates. Number 7, disable ad tracking. Number 8, configure Siri settings. Number 9, turn off iCloud backups for apps that don't need it. And number 10, set messages to auto delete. And we are very happy, so we kind of give you 2 bonuses, 2 more tips. You want to enable Find My iPhone, and you want to change your default search engine and tweak some Safari settings. I will see you next time, but until then, remember, be safe and be marvelous.